I'm Zanera Azhar and you're watching Epicenter, where we dissect, analyze and help understand major domestic and global stories. Amid the tragic events unfolding in Rafah in Gaza, a new perspective emerges on the international response to this conflict. While countries like the US, France, Germany and the UK have stood firm by Israel, the upcoming elections in the US and UK have notably omitted any discourse on Gaza. Renowned journalist Owen Jones has highlighted this glaring absence in his piece for The Guardian, emphasizing how politicians are failing to address this mass slaughter occurring in Gaza. In his words, there is a shocking absence in this election. Politicians won't even mention the Israel and Gaza war. Britain is complicit in mass slaughter on a horrifying scale, but those campaigning for our votes pretend it's not happening. Today's epicenter and discussion will delve into this critical issue of complicit campaigns that neglect to acknowledge what is happening around us and what should be a primary concern in the upcoming general elections in both the countries who are part of the P5, playing a critical role in this disorderly world that we are witnessing at the moment. To discuss this, we have been joined by a very esteemed panel. We have former Ambassador Jameel Ahmad Khan with us. We have also been joined by Mr. Sajid Tarar, who is a Republican, has been an advisor to President Trump as well. Ms. Aisha Khan, she is also a political leader, an interfaith activist, and a Democrat from Maryland, Washington. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. Aisha, I'm coming straight to you because you're representing Biden administration here. Israel has announced once again that it is ready to go to war with Hezbollah. A move that would be a significant blow to Biden administration once again ahead of the US presidential election. Is there a divide in the party over this, and how do you look at the whole administration's ironclad support to Israel in the wake of the genocide that is happening in Rafah and Gaza?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Zanera, first of all, that you're having me on your show so I can express my thoughts and, my point of view with your viewers and with you. American policy, first of all, people of Palestine, have a very special place in my heart. Whatever is going on in Gaza is genocide. And to me, everybody is agree on that ceasefire is the minimum that we must ask for. And to be honest, American policy will not change for Israel. Both Democrats and Republicans full support Israel. And I don't think any shift in American policy at this moment.
Oh, wow. So, Mr. Tarar, you're representing the other party, Republican Party here. Aisha says that there is going to be no shift in Americans' policy on Israel. Is that true?
I wanted to explain it to you what is going on in the world, matter of fact, not only in the US. Everything is happening in the world right now is due to the weak American foreign policy. Either it's a fall of Kabul, either it's a Red Sea, either it's a Houthi crisis, either it's a 10 million illegals coming into the country, either it's a Gaza war. Here, I want to mention the name of Bernie Sanders, who was a presidential candidate. He has said on the floor of the House in Congress that how embarrassing it can be that America is paying for the Gaza war and America is giving them all the bombs and armaments, and Israel is not listening to US. How helpless this government can be. Frankly speaking, today, the country is on a free fall. Country has no foreign policy. President is not physically fit or healthy to run this country. Obama has been running this country since last 12 years, and it is embarrassing. This coming election, it's not a Biden and Trump. It's America and democracy is on the ballot, and it's shameful that that democracy has a history of 250 years, and democracy is not working, and they are giving lecture to the world that we are the representative of the free world. America is in a serious issues. The worst political crisis on the planet is starting from home, from here in the US. 10 million people have walked into the country, and God knows who they are. They are terrorists, they are smugglers, they are drug dealers, or what is going on in the war. I mean, can you imagine every single bomb given to Israel has address, American address on it, and they are not listening.
And Nikki Haley has signed it. That actually was a very shameful act to do, that the politicians are signing the very bombs.
Yes. And not only this, matter of fact, after exactly the American foreign policy will be the same. I agree with the madam. But here, there's a difference in between. Let me start from the fall of the Kabul. Biden left Kabul with the dead bodies on their shoulders versus Donald Trump had the same plan, but Donald Trump had a different plan how to evacuate, how to leave Kabul. So there's a difference in between. Right now, the Biden administration has offered the green card to the people, but versus Donald Trump announced yesterday that he will offer the green cards to only students coming into the country. So the different mindset, a Democrat mindset and a Republican mindset. The world, as a matter of fact, the entire world is suffering due to the American weak foreign policy. China, Russia has come to alliance, and they are the biggest threat to the American foreign policy. And America has no clue what is going on in the future. They are completely clueless. They are celebrating Father's Day when the Russia has come to Cuba. They are celebrating Father's Day here in this country, 100 miles, and the Russians, they are doing the live exercises in the sea in Cuba, and they are celebrating. They are just smoking weed. They are smoking marijuana.
Right. Aisha, do you want to respond to that? Because what I see is that it's also a crisis of US's democracy. Yes, there is a 250 years of history behind this, and just for one state, why everything is at stake when it comes to Biden administration. Why is the strategic reason to support Israel so important to Biden administration that no one on the campuses is being heard, no one on the public opinion side is being heard, no one at the UN has been heard? What is going on?
To be honest, Sunara, it's politics a dirty game, and I mean, this year's election will be very close.
But here we are talking about genocide, so it's not solely politics.
I understand, but still, we cannot deny this. Like, U.S. ignoring and denying, the First Amendment even. So just think about it, what can else the bad can be? I mean, to me, because of the election, or maybe the stronghold that Israel have on the Senate and in the Congress, there could be one reason. But my thing is that we are talking about the problem, but my point is that where is the Muslim countries? What their role? Are they playing their vital role in there?
Okay. Mr. Tarar, Aisha seems to be completely convinced that unfortunately nothing's going to change. Do you have a plan B if President Trump is president again after these general election? Are you going to take a different course?
First of all, let me tell you, it is an uphill battle. The entire deep state and establishment of the U.S., actively Obama and Bill Clinton and everything, they are trying their best to stop to derail democracy, to stop Donald Trump. Their Department of Justice is under control, FBI, CIA, everything is under their control. Yeah, it is. Matter of fact, it's a reality. Right now, that Donald Trump is facing more judicial cases than Al Capone, who was a gangster here. This is what the state of democracy. Department of Justice is under the grip of a Biden-Obama administration. First of all, it looks very hard that Donald Trump can win. But secondly, if he wins, he already is talking during his speeches that how he can handle the international conflicts, not only the Gaza, Ukraine as well. Gaza especially, Donald Trump has said—
Because the spillover is bigger, that's the problem.
Matter of fact, right now, if you personally ask me, Israel is trying their best to drag America in. First of all, they attack in Syria on Iranian commander. That was their attempt to drag America in. And right now they are going in Lebanon, and that's their second try to bring America into this conflict. And how Donald Trump can be different than Biden? He has said it a zillion times that he has sent the message to Israel to finish your operation and go back. You don't have any plan to rule Gaza. You have no second plan. And not only this, even then the Israel's army has said eliminating Hamas is impossible because Hamas is a mindset. It's not just the killing people. And embarrassingly, the America right now, everybody, I'm saying you have seen in Colombia and all Harvard and everything, this administration have a blood on their hands, and world will not be, Americans and world won't forget it. Matter of fact, the world won't be peaceful anymore for a long period of time, what is going on in Gaza at the moment.
I mean, Mr. Tarer, it seems like US is ready to give away a whole generation of Americans just to support Israel. And as Aisha says, that the entire Congress is hostage or under the control of the pro-Israeli lobby. If this is the state of democracy in US, and you also said it yourself, that the way President Trump has been targeted by the CIA, by the FBI, do you feel that democracy in the US is at threat from the deep state? Is that what you're saying?
Definitely, I agree with you. Unfortunately, I'm a student of political science, have gone to law school twice. And a political science, I breathe political science, and I stay on the current affairs. Unfortunately, I'm eyewitnessing in Washington, D.C. and in this country right now, the democracy is under threat by the deep state, by establishment, and the way the 90+ charges on a sitting presidential candidate. Here, I wanted to tell you another thing. Democracy and Department of Justice was sleeping for 3 years when Donald Trump was, when Biden was the president. The minute he announced his candidacy, the whole Department of Justice and FBI, they came into action. And the whole world is watching how they are taking him to the court every day on a daily basis instead of campaigning. If the democracy was alive in this country, let the ballot decide versus judicial Democrat governors appointed judges. They are trying to, unelected establishment, matter of fact, trying to stop the way of the democracy. But this is the tragedy. And not only this, matter of fact, it's not, I want to quote the Elon Musk. He has said it a few weeks back that this is not only an American problem, this is an international phenomenon that where establishments and where the authoritarianism is on the rise and democracy is under threat.
And how do you see things panning out in the future? Do you think that the Justice Department would be able to do the justice to all the cases being brought upon, as you said, on the Donald Trump? Or you have a candidate other than Donald Trump as well for the presidential campaign?
Matter of fact, yesterday, the daughter-in-law of Donald Trump, she has a key position in the Republican Party. She has said it that even then, if the Donald Trump go to the jail, he will run for the office from the prison. And matter of fact, this is a very decisive election this year. That either democracy, it's not that Donald Trump or Biden. What is the future of democracy? Obama has almost become a king in this country. He has been running establishment, controlling establishment, FBI and Department of Justice for 12 years. And it is a racket, matter of fact. And if he is gone for the furthermore, this country won't see the democracy in the future. Matter of fact, and not only this is going everywhere in the world, where the country, America, where has a history of 250 years of democracy. And when they will lose the democratic values, the rest of the world is just has no clue about it, what is going on. But unfortunately,
thank you so much, Mr. Sajid Tarer. Unfortunate to see how lines are blurring between the Republicans and the Democrats, because each of the parties are claiming that they have been victimized and they have been treated in the way that we only thought happens in Pakistan or the third world countries. Let's take a short break and continue with the story. Welcome back to Epicenter once again, and I'll straight go to Ambassador Jameel Ahmad Khan. Ambassador Jameel, the sidelining and silencing inside the US on this whole Gaza conflict, the genocide that is going on. We have been discussing that this is such a blow to US's own democracy. And we have Aisha with us, who belongs to the Democratic Party. She also believes that, yes, this is happening, but whether it's a president from the Republican Party or whether there is going to be a president from the Democratic Party in the upcoming general elections, the US foreign policy on Israel is not going to change. What do you think about that?
Well, that's what the history is. But the fact of the matter is the government in the state, they normally are the one, they normally are alleged to have been handling a situation which could not really yield proper results. And I guess the Democrats, they understand it quite well. And Ms. Aisha would probably throw more light on it. But the fact of the matter is that the recent polls, which could be verified by your other guest, it suggests that the Gaza war has had its impact on the campaign of the Joe Biden, the Democrats. So yes, it does have this. And we can discuss it in two categories: silence among the Congress and the most of the Congress, I would say, and the people representing various institutions of the U.S. government. In other words, U.S. administration and the public. Public has already demonstrated their sentiments in the United States, and that's the reason the poll now is not really giving as encouraging results as expected by the Democrat from my reading. And those who are living in the US probably would be in a better position to throw better light on it. But that's how it's happening, not only in the United States and impacted by it, because the United States and its allies, they normally toe one line once it comes to Israel. So, and particularly UK. So UK also is facing the same problem. Trains have started losing in Europe, and I think it's just gradually we can see further results of their respective elections of various countries in the European Union. And it is anticipated, it is analyzed that even in Europe, the far right wing, who were mostly in favor of Israel, far right wing is losing as well. So from that standpoint, it's the one they have started winning it, and therefore it appears that the things are all together different on the public, which has been demonstrated by the people at large in various countries. But there's a bigger question, and that is documented. That is documented by a very renowned professor, is John Chalais. He has written a book, Joe Lobby and U.S. Foreign Policy. I think that speaks volume, and how much impact the Jew lobby has.
It seems pretty obvious that everybody we talk to seems to be on the same page when it comes to the U.S. foreign policy and the control over it by the pro-Israeli lobby. Aisha, do you think these elections are unprecedented in the way that there is a Gaza spillover all across U.S.? Previously, whenever we used to cover U.S. elections, the most of the topics used to be abortion and the student loans and education and health issues. But do you think the buzz is more about the Gaza war this time?
Yes, Zunera, especially the young people, they are like, this time, especially this election, is very critical because the young people, they are not agree, because the way the U.S. policy is going on, it's to me like they are not acceptable. I just mentioned earlier that it's like, just imagine that it's against to the very first amendment. And I mean, people have now awareness and they are but the other hand, they cannot do anything. They are just like helpless because the stronghold they have right now. So I would must say that the problems, yes, are there. We should talk about the solution, like how we can solve this and how we can play.
How do you think we can?
I think the Muslim country should have a stronger and the united stand. Separate Palestine state is the only solution, and we all know this.
Yeah.
There should be some, guarantors in process. killing
Do
it.
you think if, and I'm just talking hypothetically here, that if all the Muslim countries unanimously decide to accept Palestine as a state, and they actually convey this to whatever is happening in Washington, there is going to be a change based on that? Can it stir anything differently?
Be a strong impact for sure. But if it happens, and to me, to be honest, I don't think so it's gonna happen because they
All
are
right.
not united.
Yeah, I'm just talking hypothetically. So where do you see this conflict going?
I mean, see, the two-state solution is the only
Only
answer.
solution. Do you think
That,
any change in the government is going to steer that?
um, right now, I cannot say anything, especially after election. But I'm very clear on this point that it's very hard to bring the change, but it's not impossible.
Thank you so much, Aisha. You've been very kind to be with us on this show and very honest as well in your opinion. Let's take a short break here. Welcome back to Epicenter once again. On the domestic stage, in the evolving political landscape of Pakistan, a new party has emerged, spearheaded by a former Prime Minister, a finance minister, both hailing from Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, along with some other disgruntled politicians from the same party and elsewhere as well. While this development may offer a glimmer of hope in a shrinking political arena in Pakistan, the question arises, how will this new entrant navigate the existing political dynamics and deliver on the promises of the change that almost all parties pledged to bring about? To discuss this, we have been joined by a senior politician, Mr. Muhammad Ali Durrani, and another senior politician, Mr. Danial Aziz, who also happens to hail from the same political party in the past that we are talking about. Thank you so much, Mr. Danial Aziz, for joining us, and Mr. Muhammad Ali Durrani. It only makes more sense for me to start the question with you, that what is happening with this mainstream party that once used to get two-thirds majority in the parliament? Why are the people so disgruntled?
Well, I think primarily one of the main issues that the PMLN is blamed for is the fact that Pakistan had the highest inflation in the last 16-month stint that the PMLN was leading under the banner of the PDM. And that inflation has ruined the middle class. It's destroyed Pakistan's poor. It's added literally tens of millions to below the poverty line. And resultantly, people have no hope because the inflation has remained high for the past 4 years now. And for the last 4 weeks also, despite the fact that the state bank has wrongly, I think, lowered interest rates beforehand, the sensitive price index is now once again on the rise. So there's no respite. And we know that the budget is going to be very inflationary. So I think this has destroyed the politics of PMLN that used to be labeled as being able to run the economy effectively with low inflation and high growth. That myth has been burst, partly because of Mr. Dar's policies. Now he's not allowed to come near the finance ministry. But also because in the past, the PTI followed policies that were extremely expansionary under the banner of COVID, and that resulted in a massive flood of inflation that came just after they left office. So they were lucky to have ducked that. But anyway, I think that these are some of the main reasons. Also, just to add to that, the Pakistani electorate has grown up over the past 20 years. They've been bombarded by TV channels for the past 20 years and social media for at least the past 15 years. And in that period, a new generation has come of age that can vote and has been coming out in larger and larger numbers. And that traditional politics of development handouts or pork barrel politics for development handouts to get votes, that's evaporated. And the PMLN and the PPP are still trying to do the politics of the 90s of trying to trying to hand out cookies, and nobody's buying.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Durrani, for joining us. And before you, we were talking about a new political entrant into the political arena of Pakistan, the new party of Shahid Khaqan Abbasi. Some say it's a glimmer of hope that in receding civil space, there is a new political party. But my question remains, with the same economic problems, with the same civil-military divide and the things related to that, how is this new party going to make any difference?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the old parties which are present today, they are not contributing anything. Especially the main parties which are in power, they are failing to contribute any positivity towards any improvement, towards any change, and moreover, they are not representing the public opinion or the democratic practices. They are running a show of family shows and hereditary politics, and the power comes from one way and goes to other way, from one family member to another family member. So these are such a hopeless political entities that people talk of martial laws. I say that these are family laws which are ruling our country from last 50 years. Two political families are ruling this country from last 50 years, and what has happened to this country in last 50 years, that is evident today. As far as this new party is concerned, his entry, his announcement, it's a positive thing. At least Shahid Khaqan had a complete opportunity to stay where he was without any problem. He could have got so many importance there. The one thing which he has to sacrifice was his credibility and his democratic practice desire. So he has taken this initiative. We pray for him, and we think that we need new political parties which can really bring change in our society, which can introduce democratic processes in our politics, and which can be reflective of a political democratic process in their own development. So what we are having, they are not political parties, they are family clubs, and we are ruled by the family clubs so far. So I pray for them, and we'll have to see how they perform and how they move on, and how hope they can generate for the people of Pakistan. This is now that their conduct and their practices and their policies will definitely reflect to these issues.
Mr. Daniel, is it actually only economy that has mattered in the case of PMLN being going down the drain? I would say that they have not been able to formulate a government on their own, because look at the budget. They are still struggling with negotiating with People's Party. There has to be some other narrative pacing within the party that has led so many people to leave their party that actually gave them their name. For example, Khaqan Abbasi, he has always been known to be a stalwart of PMLN. Look at Miftah Ismail, look at yourself. Do you think the core reason is economy only?
No, I think that as far as certain other people are concerned, it's always treacherous when you have to have a generational transition of family leadership. Mm-hmm. The same happened when Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto took over from Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. She had a number of uncles that split off and created separate political parties. Just to name a few, Murtaza Jatoi and Aftab Sherpao, all of these were PPP stalwarts under Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, but couldn't seem to get along with the next generation. So similarly, in PMLN also, we're seeing a generational change. Between the brothers' generation and the brothers' children's generation, that transition is taking place, mm-hmm. and it's causing the concomitant fallout that would always be expected, because these are people that have dedicated most of their lives to developing and working for PMLN, and when it comes time for their turn to take over, they find out that somebody junior to them is preferred rather than elected, and that causes a lot of heartache. So this is par for the course in Pakistani politics. But what's more important to me is that had it been the case that when the next generation is coming forward with a set of policy options that they have been busy researching and working on and toiling over for the past, 15, 20 years while they were in college, university, and thereafter in their adult life. And they hit the ground running. Unfortunately, that's not the case, either in case of PPP or in case of the PMLN. Pakistan is facing a huge economic crisis. And the PMLN and the PPP now both don't have finance ministers. And the prime ministers to be, whether that's Bilawal or Mariam, also don't have their own economic knowledge base or their governance
Do they
knowledge
have a
base.
political base?
Well, they have a political base, but it's shrinking day by day, as you can see. The PPP has been relegated to Interior Sindh, and the PMLN has been relegated to basically a GT Road party. And they've lost in KP, they've lost in Balochistan, they've lost in Sindh. The PMLN used to have tentacles, at least, in each of these provinces that are very, formidable. But now that's all evaporated, and even in Punjab, they're under stress. The kinds of returns that they used to get at the polling booth just aren't forthcoming anymore because they have nothing to offer. They have no solution for Pakistan's problems, whether that's electricity or that's expanding the tax base or it's foreign policy or it's bringing in foreign direct investment. All they can do is borrow and try and hand that out to their cohorts. And Pakistan can't borrow anymore. Pakistan is borrowed up to here. We've drowned our
But do you
generations
think
in
that
debt.
realization is there in the core of your party, that we cannot continue with the same dire economy anymore?
It's not my party, first of all, and the second thing is any longer. And the second thing is that no, that realization isn't there. The zebra can't change its stripes. This is what they know how to do. They're basically an establishment party, and they use the state patronage to be able to garner political support. But unfortunately, the state patronage is drying up because Pakistan doesn't have budgetary space anymore. And the myriad problems which are being faced are basically because of the last 30, 40 years of a failing and gutted bureaucracy. And so to resurrect a bureaucracy is a huge undertaking. You need a people
Thorough
study.
restructuring and all that. Well, that brings me to a different perspective. To my understanding, almost every political party has strengthened the political role of establishment. Do you agree to that?
Well, I think I would go further. Many parties have been created by the establishment, and once they go awry, then they try and find their feet. So the case in point is PMLN and PTI. People's Party has a slightly different history, but of late they've also been added to the bunch. So it's all the same politics. Some people call it the politics of gate number 4. The hope was that after 58(2)(b) was eliminated from the Constitution and the Charter of Democracy was introduced, that we were going to stop doing that. But then along came PTI on the riding the finger of the empire and umpire, and then the rest is history. They made the situation much worse.
Well, talking of the policies, do they have enough time to reflect on their policies, to come out with their actual manifestos? Because in any case, elections are now five years away. During that interim period, what can they contribute to the political landscape of Pakistan? Muhammad Ali Durrani.
Actually, political process or forming a political party is not a turnkey project. It's a long project, getting the confidence of people, getting the confidence of political entities in the country, then going for performance, making policies of public interest and getting them implemented. It's a gigantic job, and it's a very creative and political strategy job, and definitely we can pray for them that they should become victorious out of all these challenges which they are facing today. But I think that these challenges are always there. It's not the matter of coming elections or a year or 2 years. It's a lifelong commitment by the leaders who have taken this initiative, and we think if they will stick to their policies and if they will stick to their principles. Now we need political entities with politics of principles, with politics of democratic practices, with policies of national interest, and policies of national interest and public interest also. So we can hope and we can pray, and we'll observe what they really do.
What I see is that every party claims the same thing, that we are going to work for the people, we are going to deliver this, deliver that. But look at the budget. It is even more inflationary than the previous one. One. Two, they themselves are resistant to change. So unless these parties, and I actually count Shahid Khaqan Abbasi part of these parties because he has been there since 20, 30 years. So it is the same old faces with the same resistance to change. And the change I'm talking about is the actual public opinion that matters. How are we even expecting that we will navigate some change in the years to come when the policies remain the same, when we are hostage to the bureaucratic tendencies, when even the Chinese ambassador had to say that you need political stability in your country? How are you looking at things?
A very pertinent question and definitely very focused question. One thing, the old faces, but history says that when old faces, experienced faces, they take some initiative and they know what is going on, they can contribute really much for the future change. But it will depend on their practice and their policy and their initiative and their commitment to their statement and their policies. As far as today's ongoing scene is concerned, it's really pathetic, and I don't see that any government person, any government policy or any government party, they are really interested to do something for the people of Pakistan, in which they are interested. They are working for their own personal interests, and there is no way. Budget, where is public in this budget? Public is there for one purpose only: how to further squeeze them, how to further tax them, how to further abuse them, rather than giving anything to public. Whatever is given to them themselves. They have whatever they have increased for themselves. What renovations they are doing for their own buildings. And for public, there are
the holy cows remain holy cows. They are still untouchables. That is what we have seen.
True, very true, very true.
Mr. Daniel Aziz, coming to you, do you see this inertia breaking anytime soon, where the political parties themselves are hostage to their own 90s politics?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that most of what Mr. Muhammad Ali Durrani has said, I agree with, and I endorse what he's saying. As far as your question is concerned, I think it's very clear that Pakistan has now come to a stage where it's no longer possible to continue with business as usual. These political parties, the PPP and the PMLN, as well as the other coalition partners, they're trying to continue with business as usual, running to Saudi Arabia, running to Gulf countries, running to China, trying to cobble together some kind of a breathing space so that they can say that, look, we won this trophy and now we can go back to business as usual, and the business community can keep not paying tax, and we can keep handing out favors of political politics. But unfortunately, none of that's working because Pakistan has maxed out its ability to take on more debt, both internationally as well as domestically. And all these countries are only willing to renew already given debts to Pakistan. They're not willing to give any new debts to Pakistan. And if you look at the IMF statement by the deputy managing director, Ms. Antoinette, she has predicted, and the IMF should know because that's their job globally as well as in Pakistan, and we are anticipating getting into an IMF program, so they must be very keenly interested in estimating what kinds of attraction of foreign direct investment Pakistan can achieve. And she has predicted that in the financial year 25, which is the next 12 months, beginning on July 1st, that Pakistan will only increase its foreign direct investment by 0.1% of GDP. So 0.1% of GDP is about $348 million. That's something that we get in our Roshan digital account almost monthly.
That's harrowing.
So basically what she's saying is that it's not happening. So Pakistan has to start looking inwardly and rely on its own comparative advantage and its own productive capacity. Unfortunately, because of the Afghan war, the most recent Afghan war, Pakistan, it rained dollars here. And Shaukat Aziz and Ishrat Hussain destroyed Pakistan's economy because they let those dollars flood into the market.
Right.
And what that did is it shifted Pakistan from an export-oriented country to an import-oriented country. And then and that was for consumption. And then in order to finance those imports in 2008, when Pakistan hit a crisis, after that it was declared duplicitous and the dollar stopped flowing, then we went to the IMF again, and Shaukat Tareen was the then finance minister. He showed the debt door to Pakistan, and they started taking on debt. And then PMLN came, and then they took on debt. And then Imran Khan just went crazy taking on debt.
Isn't now Pakistan, the same musical chair that we have been witnessing since last 2 decades, I would say?
It's not the same. It began in 2008, and now it's over in 2024 because Pakistan can't take any more debt. So basically what I'm telling you is that Pakistan is on the brink of an economic transition. It's going to happen. It can be chaotic or it can be well planned. If it's chaotic, it'll be very disruptive. If it's well planned, then Pakistan can move firmly into a new economic production mode that switches back to an export promotion rather than an import-based consumption economy. And but our political parties aren't willing to do that, and they're not equipped to do that.
All right. Mr. Durrani, my last question to you. Do you think the problem is economy or the political stability?
Actually, what every country to whom we are going for some help, everybody is saying three things. Number one, you need political stability. That means you need political reconciliation. Second, they say you need security in your country, better improve your law and order situation in the country. And third point, what they are saying is you have to provide economic stability to the investors and economic protection to the investors. So that's the basic three questions which we are facing today from whole of the world. This
are
is
we addressing that?
IMF is saying. But who will address?
Yeah,
I think we are at the brink of, as I'll totally agree with Daniel, and whatever he has said, there are a lot of sense. We can have some difference regarding the past, but as far as today's condition, there can't be any disagreement. But with which brink, and who is going to take us forward? These people who have given this budget, these people who have no consideration of their people, their country, their development. Look what they have done with the wheat, what they are doing with the only productive section of the country, that is the agriculture. If agriculture performs with the help of SIFC and with the help of farmers' effort, if they produce more, then they try to discourage them to the extent that they shouldn't go for any such practice in future. What we need, as Daniel is saying, we need business. We don't need business. We need production. Any productivity can only help Pakistan's economy to come out of these problems.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel Aziz, for joining us, and Mr. Muhammad Ali Durrani for joining us. And this wraps up this week's Epicenter.